reconvene the meeting of May 4th.
I did not find any problems with them. I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes. Okay, scheduled reports for the second meeting of the month. Fire Chief John Phillips.
I have no report tonight. Boy Scout pasta dinner went very well Saturday.
Yeah, I think they want to thank you for that too. Nice crowd. Did a silent auction.
The silent auction did pretty good too.
40 some items. They did pretty well. Yeah.
They told me they served about 250 people. Through the whole year.
But it was a pancake-sized crowd. Yeah, it was.
That's it for my report.
Thank you. Let's see, we've got a bid opening for crack seal products, $750. So I guess we can get around some other stuff first. John, you got a report?
Yeah. A couple things. We're working, getting the roads patched up. We're making some headway over there on Ascot. We had, considerable full depth repairs to do again this year. Good news is the full depth repairs from last year are still all holding fine. And there's just a ton of water up there as we get these holes opened up, and some of these were going down, 10, 12 inches. So when we do go and resurface, you're going to have 12 inches of asphalt in some of those spots. So it should be fine. We're working on Frank's. One thing we're going to need to do is we've been putting in over on Ascot. We've been putting the base in. We still need to go back and put top coat in. And last year we got Todd Lamb. Remember, he came in with a paver. It almost helps, save 50% of the cost of the asphalt because you're not swishing it around with the grader blade, actually paving with it. So I'd like to get him for a day and come in and as soon as we get the full depth repairs done and put the asphalt down, top coat on. I think it's well worth the effort and the money. So probably looking maybe no more than $2,500 for that. So I'm going to make a motion that we hire Todd Lamb to top coat down on the Ascot project. Okay. Sounds like a good idea. Second that?
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Other than that, we're working. We started today in the cemeteries. We don't have the volume we had in the past, thankfully, but still a little bit of straightening up. We're going to be current with all of the footers that can be done, and I think the guys are all prepared to put out they drug out the benches and whatnot for the Memorial Day. We talked about that. Our new workers looking very well. It's just, so far, we had a really good week with them. And so I think he enjoys working here, too.
Which reminds me, I'll bring this up before I forget, the backup batteries for the microphone and the sound system. Do we have those available?
We were just looking at Nancy's got her list for right there.
A double set this year.
Yeah, this is my checklist for things to do Saturday, and I'm going to have one list for Nancy to get an extra AA battery out.
No, I like that sprint over here, and then carrying all the cabinets apart with the batteries.
Right in the middle of the thing.
Yeah,
Like a crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we test that every year. It doesn't get used very often.
Maybe you're giving too long of a speech for the test.
We test it every year, so it's on for like 2 minutes, and everything's working fine, And then, of course, when it's on for half an hour, it's dead. Yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to handle that. We learn by doing.
We are working towards finalizing some stones and stuff. And it looks like about the same amount of stones, which would run 710 through that path. So we want to get the stones delivered, and then we'll go ahead and do that paving of the driveway. But the stones will already be up there. And then when probably looking at a couple of weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, we might be able to do that around the end of July, second week of the end of July, with vacations and whatnot. Mark Stern's kind of heading that project up.
This is perimeter of.
This is to go the perimeter, all open areas around the park. It actually comes out to about another little more than 6 tons.
Well, if that's being farmed again this year in order to keep weeds down,
he's plowed it already, but he left a little bit on the perimeter.
I just wanted to make sure he was aware. So,
and this time we're not going to be as finicky, so to speak, when we do the, removal of topsoil. We're not going to do that. We're just pretty much going to, if there's all obvious things sticking up out of the ground, we'll knock it down, but we're just going to go in, put some Roundup now, clean it up. Some spots, if it's wet, we'll use fabric. So I think we used around 700 tons last year. Now there's an option that we could probably, I don't know if it's worth it or not, save a little bit by going over here to Mount Auburn and buying the gravel, but it might be an option. It saved prices last year as we paid for the trail price. It's maybe saved $2 a ton. So.
it's good material. I mean,
Haven't got a real number from them. I don't know why not, but they couldn't come up with the delivered price.
and they are done crushing or crusher pump.
Yeah. We need to figure out one way or another. You guys have a preference?
For materials to use? Well, it's different than in the woods because this is going to be theoretically more dry because it's going to catch sunshine all the time. So,
Are you still considering that as part of the cross country?
Yeah, it's going to be 8 feet wide.
well, people are going to want to push baby strollers in there and whatnot. So,
Do they have any particulars on the surface for cross country?
No, I'm guessing it was like a 6-7. And, more than exceeded. They were just giddy when they saw what we'd already done there.
Yeah, but that's true with the baby strollers and things like that.
they're going to want to push stuff like that. They're going to be little.
Well, it'll take a while to settle out.
Yeah.
It's not locked together.
Number ones?
Yeah, we're right under one. Well, keep it around. We need to do something by next meeting, whatever we want to do.
I'd say somewhere, so
That's what I
what we got.
So whichever's cheaper. Cheaper for similar material, whatever.
Yeah. You got to come up with it. If it's the same, it's just going to go back to work.
I'd use that as a start. What we got. It seems to be working well.
Should it be any bridges this time? Kind of made that requirements. No bridges.
Jumping ramps.
Well, this is on the part that we're allowed to do. That one through the woods had to be cleared with
Yeah.
conservancy.
Yeah,
So,
this is on our part.
yeah.
So we've been working on that, and like I We're patching, getting banks, getting ready for it. Emmerich went to the pre-con meeting with Roniak for Stafford Road, and that thing's moving along. I believe the start date is what, the 19th or 18th, and the finish date's going to be second week of August.
Take the jogging stores into account with the bank returns.
Yeah, banks. Other than that, that's what I got right now.
Just a couple things over here.
I mean, we do have a guest here if we want to.
Can we do that in 10 minutes, though?
Put me afterwards, BJ.
Yeah, it's just it's a quick deal.
All right.
Okay. We got that DOC consortium random drug testing. It's from 8 to 9:30 on Wednesday, May 27th. Me and Nancy do the drug testing. I think it would be worth. I'm sure you probably attended that before. It would be worthwhile for Nancy then.
Somebody probably has to, actually.
Yeah, I think we have that.
Unless Nancy's not here to defend herself from somewhere.
That's what she's been doing, is things like that. So I don't see this as being mandatory, but it should be attended.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll make a motion to send Nancy to the consortium on
Second.
Wednesday 27th.
No cost to that.
No.
Other mileage, I guess.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and just one letter, I'll read it. It's from Sarah Spen. It says, I'm a new driver that lives in Auburn. I'm writing you regarding the intersection of East Washington and Munn Road. The intersection frequently becomes backed up on East Washington eastbound. Often the backup reaches East Washington and Bainbridge Road split. Drivers know the intersection understand the backup usually occurs when there is an East Washington eastbound driver that needs to make a left turn onto northbound Munn. The eastbound driver needs to wait for all the westbound traffic to pass at times. While the green light is spent waiting for, and living there, I will agree with what she's saying. She has a solution to put in a turning lane. I'm just recommending that we forward this to the engineer's office, since it's two county roads, that's going to be their bailiwick, but just to make them aware of the situation and that we have been approached. And there's one that we probably, it's just regarding, well, I'll just read the letter since it came to me. Dear Mr. Troy, I'm writing you about concerns over some of the road conditions here in Auburn Township. Most of the money has been budgeted from road levies to improve the conditions on some roads in the township. While the roads that have been budgeted money are in need of improvement, there are other roads in the township that need more work done than the roads that have been budgeted money. I'm fortunate enough to live on a road that has been repaired in the past few years. But there are some other roads that have many potholes that need to be repaired. For example, it would be Crackle Road and Taylor May Road. Both of these roads west of Auburn Road, on both of these roads, conditions, roads at times difficult to drive down them, which has forced me and other drivers to find a different way home that times may be longer. I'm just saying we should probably reference them to our plans for the roads and what years and the website. So, address a letter to that effect as a draw. All right. Let's see my time to Mr. May. What you got ready? I've got the usual reports for the gentleman's review, the fund status report, revenue summary report, and you have warrants in front of you, numbers 2339 through 2370, totaling $22,546.11. Just bank reconciliation for payment again too. Pass this down, Jim can look at it. And initially at your leisure, couple items I need money. So on the property acquisition and improvement fund, that's fund number 4901, I would like to have some money appropriated for site improvement. Currently, bulk of the money, the bulk of it is in land acquisition, but we also have quite a bit that's not appropriated in that fund, $388,000. I'd like to set aside $20,000 at least, if not more, so that we can use that for maybe improvements in the park as well as storage equipment. So I don't know what you guys.
Well, just the driveway alone, by the time you take the asphalt, pathway,
That's
about 11,000 right there. And then we need to get 700 tons of gravel. I need to rent those machines again like we did last year. So
your 30s look more like 50.
yeah, I think it'd be better at that.
Okay. I'm going to ask for $50,000 to be appropriated in that fund for site.
So moved.
Second. John?
Yes.
Yes. Eugene?
Yes.
The next item in the park fund in 4902, we need to have a permanent appropriation in that fund of $10,000. Again, that's just so that we can use that money for park improvements. Land acquisition fund for park improvement. So I need a motion for appropriation of $10,000.
What's in that fund?
What's in that fund right now? We got 12,000 there. We got 3,300 out. There's 86 left. So you want 10 more?
No, it's not appropriated. So we never did a permanent appropriation on that fund. So we need to do a permanent appropriation. In fact, we could just do a permanent appropriation to 12,000. Everything else is already covered in the temporary appropriations.
I mean, we're still, and the only reason I bring that up is we're still kind of in the build a park phase as opposed to the maintain a park phase, you know. So these are still coming start from scratch.
Right.
Exactly. So, I don't want to. We're kind of committed to do this out of funds available as we steer them towards improvements. And, okay. All right. As long as that's understood, you need that for expenses such as what?
The 12,000 would be for any type of improvement in the park, the site build-outs. Unless you want to use that out of the land acquisition fund.
I kind of do until we're open. I mean, I know we're partially open, I guess, but
Well, there's going to be a gray area of something that could be one or the other.
we're approaching a gray
Why do
area.
you have to maintain the two different accounts?
We set up the park fund for one reason, so that we can accept donations
Right.
into that fund. And I think the intent was to eventually move some of the money out of land acquisition into the park fund, just to have it earmarked specifically for the park fund.
All right, here's the black and white. Here's the black and white on this. I don't think we have a ribbon cutting ceremony until there's a playground for the little kids up there. We can do all kinds of other stuff, but for that to be a real park, you gotta let the Rugrats do something, monkey bars, So, I'm just thinking those were the comments I heard as we had the sneak a peek. Was anybody under 4 foot tall said, "Hey, where's the playground?" So that's got to be part of it. That's all.
So with that fund, we could get a sign that says on the way.
However, that's I think when you switch over to a park.
Right.
So
So do we want to hold the 12,000 then for park maintenance once we know everything's ready?
I think part of that park fund was also to be able to track expenditures for the park. They even out of the land acquisition fund, so we know how much of the land acquisition fund is being used for park purposes.
Right. Which we'll have to, once we put the 100,000 in the land acquisition fund into that site improvement fund we have appropriated there, we can then move it over to the park funds.
Yeah, I think that's
Earmark
the ultimate goal.
I think we need to get a court order actually to do that, to move from one fund to the other. But I've got Mia to the prosecutor from now. Is that the procedure?
we had because I think
My tendency would be to err on the side of caution, put the 12,000 in that fund just to keep that, even if we don't use it right now.
Yeah, well, 12,000 is there. We just need to have appropriate.
I think it's what he's asking.
It's our temporary coordination right now. It just is a matter of time, just to expire.
Is that okay, a motion, Pete?
yeah. Well, how's the motion going to read here? Because we got to open these bids here.
Motion for permanent appropriation of 12,000.
So moved.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Bids for crack seal repairs, various roads.
First bid is from Aeromark Inc. Cashier's check for $2,652. these?
I would, we're going to review these, obviously.
Yeah, and one of the things you have to keep in mind is that there's two sections to that. The first section is all the roads, and then the second section is some of the original all the roads, but it's the optional roads.
Okay.
And so if we decided not to do all the roads, we would start to pick out 1, 2, 3,
Right.
4, all of the
We
options.
have the right to edit the list here, but just read the totals and those.
Total for Aeromark was 186,521. Nancy did say that she was going to go through these. Next bid is asphalt fabrics and specialties. The total on their bid is 200,700. Next is WL Markers Inc. Total bid is $166,832.12. Last bid is from PS Construction Fabrics. Total bid is for $145,800.
Okay. We'll review those to make sure they're complete and edit roads as needed, if needed. Yeah, Fred, over for you. After your report.
That was it for me.
He's been waiting a while. We're going to have Jim Larson, who's in. He's done some review and some study on our road garage, some options to expand or replace part of it. Jim's the fellow that did the architectural work at the fire station expansion, which I don't think could have gone any smoother. And we
Thank you, PJ.
thank you, top to bottom for how well that project went. I wish we'd hooked up with you earlier on another building that we're going to discuss a little bit later on.
It was a pleasure working with you guys, so thanks for the nice words.
So let's hear what you got.
I'm just going to give you a little overview of what we did. We have all been talking about need down there for several months, and actually several years. But what Jim had us do is we went and did an inventory of everything we had. And we put sizes to it. Truck takes up this much space, roller takes up this much space, we did all that. We came up with total number of square footage that it took to occupy it. And we gave that to Jim. And then we also had Jim come down a couple of times. We actually met with all the road guys one morning, 2 mornings actually. And we went over, they took him around and showed him all of the building, how we're using it, what we're using from a physical standpoint. And so they kind of noodled down some general ideas. We went over those again with them, to make sure we really had it. Everybody had the same idea of everything, and we do have some issues that probably are need to be addressed fairly soon. But so we went out the board. We appropriated the money for the study. That's basically what they've done, is done a study of the existing facility and are making some general recommendations as to what our options are.
Okay. Thank you again. I appreciate the kind introduction and to PJ. And thank you, Chief, for being sitting here as well. Sitting here with a wonderful relationship with the fire department. So thanks again for the opportunity to return to the table. So this was the next opportunity to meet with service, and Emmerich and the crew, if you will, are as nice to us, and we're very easy to understand both the functional issues that are happening down within the department and trying to meet their needs, as well as in our case, understand the architecture of what kind of keeps the rain off and keeps the trucks going. I'm very aware, by the way, that these plows are the heroes of Auburn. That again, year number 2 now for just an incredibly difficult winter. But the guys also that are sitting behind those seats, if you will, are a wonderful resource, and they certainly were, to me, just again, seemed very inspired, and by the way, appreciative also of being here in Auburn. And I was also very aware, just a quick editorial overview of what I observed. The trucks actually are in great shape. If you walk in there, the trucks are, they treat them with great pride, the staff does, in my opinion, looking at what I see. The building's tired, old, challenged, if you will, in 1,000 ways. But those trucks are the kids that have that service they do, and they appreciate them as much as they're as important to you and all the residents of Auburn. But I thought this is interesting that you're moving towards something that is going to continue the maintenance, the future, if you will, for the future residents of Auburn, but with a great group of guys. So let me end the broad brush overview. Tell you that I like the general direction of this. There's challenges down there. The trucks are in great shape. The building pieces. There's 2 major buildings, I think, as you know, that are there now. They're old. They're tired. They were not built as 100-year buildings. But they're tired. The siding's coming off. The siding's damaged. The roofing needs to be dealt with. The general condition down there is just said, tired. Add to that the governmental overlays that exist, if you will. So OSHA, EPA, even ADA, or any of these governmental pieces, when applied to the situation you now have, the simple speak of what it is challenge, the response is what I would give you without going into specifics. And in fact, we didn't actually even do specifics in this, but we are doing this broad brush overview of what you have versus what we think might handle the situation. So anyway, that's the general overview. So as John said, the first thing we did was take, and we appreciate the service doing this, give us the square feet and the equipment list. So this, then again, you can review all the pieces that are there, and there actually is quite a bit. And on sheet number 2, you'll see that if I took the literal square feet of everything that they had in terms of just the stuff that they have, so there's no walkways, no bathrooms, no other support pieces. I guess some of it, I guess it is in this particular quote, but there's about 8,000 square feet assigned, in simple speak, to the just sort of getting the job done or getting the basis of what is needed. So what we did was, the sheets that follow that, you'll see in our overview of this needs assessment study, we took those squares or spaces or wherever they are, and we said, okay, so here is a bathroom, here's an office. Okay, so it's just a placeholder, if you will, is what we're going to use this for later. So we're really not, whether this is correct or not, if you will, in terms of the layout of an office or not, we're really not at that level. What we're just saying is we need a bathroom. We would like to have lockers. The guys need to put their
designation of square footage for a fund.
That's it. So we're just kind of holding court with and showing you in relative speak what the square is of this or square is of that. And then as as the drawings continue, you'll see both the trucks you have and the trucks then eventually that you could have. So the wish list is in here as well. So again, that'll take us down to towards the end, you'll see there's a truck maintenance bay. And I know the guys really try to maintain their equipment, as I said earlier, if you will, with great pride. They really do need help. And that's, by the way, from the floor up. One of the now issues, for instance, is in the winter when all this stuff's coming off the trucks, the salt and all the ugliness is coming off. But they got to clean these trucks, and if they break or if there's an issue, there's a maintenance issue, they're in a facility that's not equipped for either the stuff that's coming off the winter slush, if you will, let alone and to repair this. Likewise, by the way, that we don't have the receptors of the floor to take care of that stuff that would be going into a separate drain. And we're not. The staff does not have the equipment to necessarily fix things. So you'll see here the truck maintenance bay. There's on the wish list of items, there is a possibility of adding a lift to the facility. So that's on the list. Then the truck wash bay, as I said, repeated several times now, if they could bring the trucks in and after they do a route, hose them down before they load them up again and take them out again, it's a huge win-win. You would prefer to have those trucks go out clean. Better system. So at the very end, again, you'll see the odds and ends of the remaining pieces of equipment that is John could put down and what sizes and what they are. Okay.
We did throw in 4 future trucks. In other words, add 3 more trucks.
Okay, so I saw 7 trucks and pickup. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. But we really only have 5, right?
Right.
Right, because they have this small dump, which we already have, plus the 4. So they're at 3 full-size dumps in pickup.
Yeah, well, that garage as it sits right now is packed.
Oh, yeah.
Packed. So yeah, if you add another route, we're going to put a truck.
Too, and PJ, thanks for reminding me. Even that last, what you call the last bay, the one to the south, was so jammed with pieces of equipment, and God forbid there was a problem. Loss would be horrific.
Well, all right, the story behind that building, that was to be our first undercover salt storage. And we looked at a few buildings around, and it was underbuilt for that. And so that's why it's kind of short order converted to what it is. And it's full.
And they made it work, though, PJ. They really have.
Yeah.
Again, they couldn't. This is with all
It's
parts.
pretty much a jigsaw puzzle the way they've got it in there.
But by the way, it's all pieces of this. They find a corner to put stuff in, if you will, and they just kind of keep making it work. The signs, whatever these pieces parts are, they just kind of find a corner to make it work. So it has, to this point, at least you're acknowledging maybe there's an opportunity to improve some changes. So, all right, can I move on into the next piece of this? Okay, so what we did is we moved into this an overview of what might happen in terms of the big picture. Again, we're doing broad brush, remember, if you will, in this particular study. So as you know, the facility itself, we into the fire station, but you'll see in what we call option A, so that next first sheet, whenever you're ready. We said if we know we need the 8,000 plus square feet, then let's consider putting the addition towards the west, so we'll somehow attach this next box onto the existing box of the 4,000. So we'll renovate in the 4,000 to 2,000 to the east side, and then we'll add the new 4,000 on the west side. Physically, I don't even know how this is going to work. We actually need a little higher space. We'd like to get 20 feet if we can inside the new space. We don't have that facility. So I don't know even architecturally how this would work, but we're just saying let's play this game of trying to renovate those spaces and add 4,000 on it. And then you can see we move the drive and go to the west as well. Okay, so this is going to be the approach now to the concept. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm going to flip then to the next one, SFB, in which we're going to say that the salt storage building is now gone. It seems to be in the worst shape of the two buildings that are there now. So we're actually going to drop that. We're going to add the 2,000 square feet that was in there into the 6,000, and then grade rent the 6,000 to the rest of the expansion. In addition, attached back to the 4,000. Now, to remind you also that we're going to take that 4,000 and it's going to be completely renovated. The floor's got to be changed. We need drains. We need the siding actually is damaged or falling off. There are some roof issues with it as well. So we're really going to basically save the structure of what it is, and then we're going to rebuild the inside of that 4,000. That's what the overview is, and then add a 6,000 square foot new building onto it. That makes sense. Okay. So the last one, in all fairness to that, let's consider at least these pretty strong possibilities, is to not renovate and to build a new structure, build a new building to obviously house everything. And you'll notice that the numbers went up dramatically then also, the square feet of what it is. And that's because in the previous scenarios, we have a series of garage doors, just like the Chief has up the hill. You back those trucks in, and out they go when the door opens, and hopefully all the door hardware works. And each time it goes around the problem. So that's the system that you've been operating under. In this plan, this new building, then we're actually looking at a one-way system with just two basically overhead doors in it. There's an innie that you see towards the top of the sheet or towards the north, and the out if you were coming out here towards the fire station side. But the idea is that we circle those trucks just in a one-way system, and then we need that extra space in the middle. That's why we need the square feet for the movement of the trucks inside. Okay, so it's an internal system of movement that we'll now have for the trucks. And also the idea is to bring the trucks in, back them into a wash bay, wash them down, and then put them into whatever stall they belong in, and we'll get them ready for the next run out the door. Okay, so to speak. Okay. With the various all the pieces happening inside, you'll see the ability in any more square feet right. So it's just administration that they support the space. So this was the comparative to say, what if we built a new building? And then I just included the topo to restate some of the obvious. We've got a hill. The Chief's got his heliport that's here. We have the existing detention that's here. And in terms of site work, in all three schemes, undoubtedly we're going to be modifying that now detention area. We will now have, in any of these schemes, there's new paving, new roof, and all of that storm material will be passing through a natural filtration system, if you will, and work on water quality. We're working our way on an expanded detention. So there is a fair amount of site work that will be associated with this.
In any of the three.
Any of the three. Except how we looked at the project.
That retention pond was sized exactly for the fire station expansion, or?
Yes.
We did this. We did actually lay out just to show you again. This isn't certainly final, but it's a plan to show you an idea of where those pieces of equipment would go. So again, this is not the final plan. It's just a plan to show the space order for the equipment, the adjacent space. We've got the high bay space in the new plan. We need the 20 here, so we don't need it over here on the side where the administration and support. So again, it's not final. It's just a beginning against the wall. If you will, first blush, showing how space. So I guess we want to confirm that the movement could happen in here comfortably. I think John was
Yeah.
This is a number or a square or a space, if you will, that would accommodate.
one of the things we did is we went around and early on in Everett, we went around and they viewed all the neighboring townships. How big is their garage? The smallest one was 21,000 square feet. We've been, I guess, hence why are we having such space issues? We're trying to do this in 6. That was a space issue. Rather, it's obvious to us because it's everything's so cramped in there. Some of them went up as high as 40,000. So,
what's the advantage of the single in-out?
A couple things. One is we have doors. We have 14 doors. Okay, but what happens if there's failure in one of those doors? Something we're manual control, and can we do that? Can we move these doors easily? It's the middle of winter, and it'll be your worst case. We already know where this is going. The chief needs to have reliability. So do you, at least for the key doors, the clouds anyway, that need to go out. But every time we have an opening, we've got a leak, we've got a potential for the door not working, we've got another operator. So again, it's the idea of the simpleness of that, and then the consolidation. We've got in this process, and we're constantly using and working in the core of this thing as a movement or as using a staging place. Even the middle of this actually helps the process of whatever's going to happen on the inside of this facility. So part of the value of the hallway or the centerpiece is again it really is part of the whole thing. It's not really not a DMZ quite as so we make it a lot of the times, but it can be used for if there's charging you that for one charge, whatever's going to happen. If there's flexibility in this, maybe that's the key thing that is a strong item is the flexibility of this plant. When you build a single box with just 2 doors on the end, you can shovel the deck any way you want on the inside, stack twice on the other side. But it's just a big open space with just 2 doors on it. But it's as simple as we can get. If we added the 3rd door, the 4th door, 5th door, whatever, we're just adding stuff, more doors, if you will. So
Style-wise, the same as virtually any auto dealership repair area.
Yeah, that's what it resembles.
Yeah.
Is what I was thinking.
yeah, we didn't invent anything.
Which is different from the daily go out.
Right, the door
of
opens
the
to go
trucks.
out here.
That's
Is this design been used in other service department buildings?
Many other service buildings do exactly the same.
Right.
You're not first. And I like your example, car dealerships is the same thing. But it's total flexibility on the inside, if you would. Again, how this trucks close together, put them apart. It's not dependent on the doors. As soon as you put the door in, you've now said where that truck's going to go. You understand if I put it?
yeah,
doors?
right. I mean, our guys. I'm just this is more of a communal thing. Our guys, they got their own trucks, so I'm sure for the most part they park in roughly the same spot most of the time.
yeah, but one of the things is right now, every night, every day, right now, all we're doing is when we come back from patching, we got to take the roller off the trailer off the truck. The next morning, we have to go back and repeat that process
Just to get everything in.
because there is no spot.
So this they just drive through, park
Here,
at the
you drive
end.
in up to the front door, and you turn it off, and then get up in the next morning, you go back out and do it. The other issue is to do maintenance on the Cruiser, the backhoe. Right now, it has to go outside. We have no place. You could easily, in the center column here, pull it out and stretch the arm out, and work on the different stuff. So those are things that it's not a dead space by any way, shape, or form. And then as the uses go on, I think, like Jim said, you're going to pick up a lot of flexibility. The only things that really, in my mind, have to be permanently located is we desperately need a wash bay, and we desperately need a lift. And those are 2 things that no to maintain the trucks. This last winter, we went, a long time without being able to wash any of the salt off the frames or anything, because we have to go outside and do it, and it was a little chilly. So you had just created a bigger mess. But those are little things that help give that equipment longevity. And a lot of people would like to take that loader and just leave it outside. Well, by putting it in every time, we've got a 30-year-old loader that looks like it's 2-3 years old. So that's the ability to keep that stuff inside. Right now, for summertime, we had to move the grader outside just so we could, get in and out of working in there. But we got a 35-year-old grader. Why would we want to just maintain that? Not buy another grader.
Yeah, well, it used to be parked outside, and that's when we had all kinds of electrical problems with it.
Didn't work 99% of the time, but right now, being able to store it inside. But, John, is there somebody out in the back that would like to tell us something, John? You can't have this stuff back in here. We just can't continue safely.
Lift versus a pit.
It'll be a lift. Yeah. A pit, it's actually the simplest way of dealing with maintenance is not to have the danger of the pit and the issues that are associated with the pit. They tend to be more oceanism like pits.
That's where I was going to ask you, what's the hang up there? Because you're talking less equipment and less roof height.
It's almost a confined space because you have fumes and stuff go down the bed. It's really more hazardous.
Yeah, it is confined, and also fumes and stuff that are heavier than air go right to the bottom of the pit.
Fall into the pit.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Walk.
Here's the thing about that. The other issue then, BJ, also is security out of the building. Again, we have to outline the doors. Less the doors, just less concern you have over. And I know people aren't necessarily messing with your stuff outside. But who knows? I mean, there's one more door, one more opportunity if you will for potential security. So again, just to perhaps explain those. And I think I said before, the thermal envelope obviously is better if because I can't with a door get like walls and compromise it. But it's based on function. I think that's the strong suit is how this begins. Those other pieces that I said are just
You would have to, and listen, I'm just hashing through some of the more expensive parts. Like I said, if you had a pit rather than a lift, you could theoretically have a lower lift, right?
Well, no, the other issue is we need to get some of this equipment's kind of tall, and then also if the bed goes up or whatever, then if you want to work on it, can't. So or take it outside, I guess, a little bit. It's the idea is having this total flexibility in here.
Okay. All right. But at the bottom of that pit, if you were to go that way to try to save a couple bucks, you would have to have obviously a collection drain. You'd have a lot more excavation down at the bottom there, correct?
You do, and you're right. We have that issue, as you know, with the drainage issue, and we discussed it earlier, doing stuff coming out of the truck. But certainly in a maintenance bay, there's a lot of. It's all going into, by the way, the same oil interceptor. It's going from, even if it was a pit, it's still going to the same oil interceptor, I assume. But to your point, BJ, we now have to lower everything.
All the drainage,
whatever the number is, it's all going down.
So maybe you wouldn't save any money that way.
I don't think it'd be a savings. In fact, to buy a piece of equipment to lift is going to be a whole lot less expensive than building a pit. But no, that's an excellent question. So why? So again, we analyzed those three things. Then we did an estimate on it because it's always the big question is how much. By the way, the person that did the estimate is the same one that did the chief station for Bob Jet. So these are the numbers. Okay, these are direct costs. These are not the direct costs. These are not include fees or CM fees, architect's fees. Other costs that might be even furniture fixtures. So this is pretty basic numbers. The big OMG is, gosh, it costs a lot of money to renovate. And it certainly does, because we have to unbuild what you have and then rebuild it. So it's actually more expensive to go through that process of demolition and playing nicely inside the lines and then rebuild. The numbers are certainly up, as you see on the So interesting enough, in this overview, and this, remember, this is also a broad brush. We actually have some other support information on this, but this is really spaghetti against the wall. And until those plans are drawn, again, we can't really finally estimate this, but we can do a pretty good job of looking at the square feet, how much site we have to do, and how much electrical we're anticipating even having. Those were all considerations for all three of these numbers.
I guess, so at the end of each, whichever option you choose, you should have a compliant building. One of the things we asked Jim to do is look at this. We're trying to do a 30-year projection for usage. The existing buildings is about 4. So looking out, kind of like the same approach we did at the fire station.
Yeah. We want to do it once and don't want to be coming back in 5 years saying, well, we should have made it bigger.
Yeah, or we should have made it taller, or whatever. Try to plan various routes.
And this is also, it's a good chance this is a pre-engineered building. It's a good chance, but that's not the only way this could be done. This could actually be done as bar joist and concrete block as well. So we're not, again, that's a whole next process then of sort of understanding the benefits of that. But for talking purposes, simple speak is that this could be done as a pre-engineered building, and you can mentally imagine the simplicity of that. It's a warehouse for talking purposes, if you will. So metal sided, metal roofed is simple speak of what this could be. 2 doors, if you want. Yeah. Just to tell you what this overview of the estimate represents.
Bottom line is the nature of the condition of the existing buildings. It wouldn't be prudent to even consider the renovations, because you can build a new building more than twice the size for significantly less money.
Right. That's our belief, that there's just a whole lot of work to try to fix what you have.
Essentially, I think we'd have to tear up the entire floor, every square inch of the floor we already have, because you got to put in drains. We have no drains. And then a lot of the block wall is
deteriorating.
Yeah, and the lower blocks are deteriorated, so some of those would have to be. Electrically, we'd have to start all over again. Plumbing-wise, we'd have to start all over again.
The bathrooms are in very, very sad shape.
Yeah, the bathrooms
They're
are
ADA.
I'm sorry?
They're ADA.
awfully damn.
Yeah, I think we'll leave that.
And I have to say this, we're lucky to God. We have not had labor issues because of the conditions of that. But anybody that's gone in knows that they're pretty primitive. And certainly not compliant.
On the plus side, they are indoors.
And that's we're always thankful for that point, that they are indoors. Whatever we did on an option is going to be a bit of a project in that we have to get it started in as soon as the weather breaks and get this back up again before winter. Because
Yeah, that's the other part, is if you did a total demo, where do you operate your road department from?
well, you're going to have bring in a trailer. No matter what you do, any one of these three, you're going to be operating, because you got to tear this whole thing down. Am I right? Or
You'd have to. Again, you understand this. If I got to remodel, I'm sorry, but you got to move all your stuff out so I can remodel, right? Just even if you're right to do that scenario. So one way or the other, you got to move the trucks out.
Okay, but my point was if you did, and I see the cost numbers, so I'm kind of ignoring those when I ask this question. If you did your new construction and your renovation followed on the older building, would that be a possibility so you could have someplace to operate from?
You know, PJ, I think it would be difficult to do because you're still linked together. When you build this new building, right? You still there's electrical that's crossing over. There's pieces, parts of this. Plus, even the staging of this thing is going to certainly disrupt everything to the west of this. You feel that it's going to be disrupted. I think it would be a challenge, but the other challenge I've started to say before, I'm not even sure what this looks like. Because if I need a taller building to the 4,000 to 6,000, I don't even know how these things are linking together. So where I'm going with that is, how do those roofs then? Is this? Because you got a gable roof on this? Am I putting another roof that's going to come down, but it's going to probably impact in some way? In other words, they're not being built with just a simple, bearing wall in between, and then work on the other side of the wall. Something tells me there's this crossover pieces of this are pretty strong.
Okay, so other than proximity to the salt building, why have we considered just a different location on the property for the new building, so we could keep operating our road department, and it wouldn't be such
It's
a
like, just for
time
example,
crunch?
if we were to take this here and just shift it. So you shift this whole thing down into this area.
I actually don't care, if you will. I don't mean to be too whatever glib about it, but it was my understanding though that the process here is pretty efficient, if you will, about the loading of the salt and movement and what have you. Mm-hmm. And again, to your point though, Michael, if you will, that if we move it over, we'll just have more pavement or something over here because I've got to keep this, and I also have to keep an easy access for the chief to get out. But in truth, if I move this over, we're just buying more pavement, I think, if we'll do that. But I think to your point, and maybe that PJ is, it would be higher.
Well, what we're saying is, what we're looking at is if you were to, and again, we're just looking at it for the first time.
Yeah.
If we shift it, okay, you can get quite a bit of this thing completed.
Okay.
While this is still in operation.
Okay. So there it is. And again, other than...
And even if we get to the point where, okay, we've got this thing, which is this in and of itself. Once you get get your drainage in and everything else, you get the floor in, you get it up. Okay, now we got a place to put all the trucks.
Then you can
and if they have to, then they can
over.
put some tables in the corner and call it the office over here. I mean, just use this building while they tear everything else out.
Right. And the only conflict you can see this instantly, if I can bring the chief over, so I can make sure that because it's
yep,
that's
I
the
see
issue.
that. Yeah.
Can I bring the chief in?
Sure.
Is that appropriate? So what they're saying, chief, is that if this whole mass moves over, okay, then this driveway then is also somehow got to figure out how to make this happen. So this pad would have to be moved in some manner and keep you 70 feet or plus or minus clear, if you will, over whatever your magic number would be. I'm thinking
Relatively cheap to move the pad over a little bit. I think it makes more sense that way you build your building, tear down the old one when you're done, and they can stay in operation because I know fire departments have gone through
you can take this thing and angle it like
that doesn't work too well.
Just
you have options, Mike, to your point of view.
I mean we can put the the ingress and egress on the building pretty much anywhere.
Right, and by the way, this was shifted this way just in terms of it was just making the turn a little easier for people to get in if we're on this side. Was kind of the thought of why it's angled that way. Okay, so but to your point, you're right. It could be this way, and just going to push the inside to be a sharper turn, and then
like
the outside gets.
I don't get any specific location, but just like I said, anything that we could do to. What are the options to keep them at least running for a while before we can get them?
We're going to be running the whole time anyway.
Oh, right.
Let's say a little more conveniently.
If you can keep the old building
one of the
going while you're doing new construction, then you
one
don't
of
have
the
the man
things
house
that
on
we
the
kind of
move.
kicked around, and what we would try to do is we do have a pretty large building right here. We would, as winter was going out, we would run that empty, completely empty. And if we had, if we had to, we would just store the salt over here like we have. If we ever had access, if we had to,
And
we'd
those
put some
bins,
salt there.
those bins on the side.
Exactly. Tarp them again. But you have a pretty good sized facility here, and we'd have to put up a trailer.
Yeah.
And it's it's a little bit of a hardship. And then there's always that after 40 years, some of that stuff's going to go anyway.
Well, we don't have a whole
But-
bunch of office work. I mean, let's say as we're doing this, you're going to have a construction trailer in there anyway.
Well, the guys would have to have a trailer we'd have to set it up with a construction trailer big enough that they can go in and operate out of. I think you're going to end up doing that one way or another.
I think you use Fred's office.
Or we could come into Fred's, but it's going to be a little hardship. But basically, this project has to be planned to be started in the spring and be done in the fall. So regardless, the economics of this picture don't favor reconstruction.
Yeah, that's
So,
pretty obvious.
that's the biggest thing. So, you can throw up a pre-manufactured building in 90 days.
Part of that reconstruction cost would be the drainage to catch the oil separator and things like this that are mandatory in a reconstruction. Is that true?
Absolutely, they would be,
Okay.
PJ. Again,
All
this
right.
is so exhaustive that again, most even plans examiners would really see it as new construction. You're just reusing some of the pieces of it. But yeah, it's your latest standards.
Must be met when this is done.
It must be
You can't
met.
just hodgepodge anymore.
And this is today's level. When we did it, when we worked for the chief, it was at the level at that moment, if you will, of what we were required to do. Same thing here.
I think some of these things we have to address regardless. I mean, the floor drains have got to be, we've been to the meetings for phase 2, and
I'm just
we can't dance around those too much longer. I mean, we do have to put a plan in place. That's the real thing they're asking us is, do you have a plan in place to deal with this? And we would, one way
All
or
right, so
another.
to get to this, and this is, I'm trying to justify all this stuff because this is big. Wash bay, oil separator, it's going to be included in it. Even if we were trying to be cagey here and build a standalone building with this stuff, so we could save a couple bucks, we still got to build everything to meet the wash bay, the OSHA. Okay.
Geauga County, the soil conservation, everybody's got their.
OSHA and EPA, they're both pretty easy to get along with. They're flexible.
No, I've dealt with a lot of inspectors for various things, and they're not. And I know that. So we'd be sticking our chin out to save the old building. For kind of what you're saying here.
Regardless of which way you go, PJ, it would be more that, geez, we really love this old building. Gee, it's really been great. We really love it. We want to
Are we
save
really
parts of it.
willing to spend $750,000 to save it? That's the question.
This is what I'm asking. What standards need to be met? Yeah.
Right. And to your point, I think we answered the question, but it's the same standards for talking purposes. No matter which you picked, it would still have to equal that same.
10 more years, we can put it on the National Registry and do it with
Yeah, that'll work.
You have challenges here, so. I would say, too, if you don't mind, just a sidebar, just to discuss the overview, but I think you're going to really need a 6-month window, is really, in my opinion, again, you sort of sitting here, but even though you could buy a Bridger building and have it up in 90 days, I still see 6 months, 8 months. If it was me, I'd sort of hold that as a window, if you will understand.
I think the key thing that I'd be looking at is, okay, let's start the project as early as we could, but we want to get trucks and everything undercover before the weather breaks. So I don't think we're about to be plowing a bunch of trucks sitting outside.
No.
That's not going to happen. So I mean, that's going to be,
I think that's
very critical.
doable. I think that's a doable goal right there, Mike. I don't think that's. I mean, I think if you start in mid-year, I don't think it's a doable goal. But I think if we got off and running, get the March, and that means we got to get architectural plans and all that, and all the, there's all the hoops you have to jump through, the permits and all that have to be got. We have to get that all done ahead of time, so that when the time comes, they're busy.
Yeah, just thinking out loud, to tag on, John, if you're in March, then November, if I just, it's 6 months to the third month of the year, that's just about winter time, so that would be the perfect world, without the weather conditions that you have.
If we did embark on things like this, I think we would want to get a hold of Jim Dixon again, get him involved in this. And my thought is even have a chat with Jim to say, hey, all right, get your knife out and start cutting. Where do you think we can cut down on these estimates? Now, I did see the spreadsheet that the estimator used. I mean, it's long and involved, and it has everything you can think of that in a building. And of course, he's putting his assigning a cost to it all. And the next thing is by you build it this way, that way, that's a lot of years of construction experience. And he was worth his weight in gold in my book over at the fire station.
He's built a number of sister buildings to this, so he understands the language of pre-engineered and best value and how to bring that to the table.
I think we do need to look at energy efficiency in this thing. I mean, we're looking 40 years down the road before we're on one. So, go with all the best practices for energy efficiency. And if you go up to the county garage, you'll see that's how they. And how old is that county building? Maybe 8 years old, something like that. And it's a big box, one door in. It sure makes a lot of sense to operate out of that. So, in our same conservative way, I don't think we're looking to build anything that's, no offense to you, Jim, but any architectural, we're going to go back to form follows function.
That's what this is asking for. Actually, even the fire station, though, is pretty...
common sense.
Yeah.
Oriented
towards
function,
functionality.
but very still nice. It's a nice. I'm not very proud of that building. So I think that's the approach now. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys would concur with that. We're not looking for pillars and that, but we do need an 8-inch floor. And things like that.
You would, because there's a lot of trucks going to turn on that floor, wouldn't you? Sure.
Oh, yeah, it only makes
Coming in
sense.
and backing in at a 90-degree angle.
Yes,
Six would be a question.
Yeah.
One other
There's a
thing.
lot of weight on them when they put them away loaded for the next.
Right, we'll go in, load up, back in, and then the next morning we're ready to go. So, the other thing we wanted to consider in whatever we looked at, and I think Jim kind of alluded to it, is right now we have to bring in the salt. This isn't like one truck. We're talking 100 trucks coming in that have to be able to come in. You might have 5 trucks coming in here at a time to get salt. So we bring in the salt if we have to have a flow of the trucks. The other thing we want to do very much is work with the fire department to maintain a safe flow of fire trucks, emergency vehicles, which we utilize the drive now for. And I think we absolutely have to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Don't you think
Absolutely.
so, John? Absolutely. So whatever we do, we want to maintain that aspect of things.
Oh, I agree. I want to keep Duke Cross Boulevard open through there. But you talked at length about the move into the new part. But your old part stayed existing the entire time.
Right.
And boy, that'd be a...
That worked very well for
Yeah,
us.
that's what I mean. I gotta think that building a little comfort zone on the move. And what I'm getting at is, like Mike and I were talking, just shifted this over to the existing.
Yeah, clear the existing.
Yeah, have a new place before the tear down starts.
I totally understand that in terms of strong consideration. Makes sense. Because I don't know what other cost it's generating. I really don't even. At this point, it's here, it's there. I mean, it's foundation. So, is there a little more pavement that's happening? I guess there is.
Yeah, a little more pavement.
Yeah.
A lot more pavement.
Is that? Yeah, I guess we are adding substantially to the nice things as the chief went out. So it's pavement, I guess.
Yeah, that's...
The building's building. But to your point, the savings of the disruption, and that's a benefit. And by the way, future. So this is your holding area for. There's a big space out here. Is that where mulch goes then?
Yeah, well, we put, we stock pile materials out there all the time.
And maybe that actually makes sense also, by the way, just functionally, that you've now created a protected perimeter. In other words, that this has become your core, your work area. This is, people coming in here, you're observing them better. It's all functional.
Yeah. Eventually, if you ever have to, this is going to go down a couple more sections. You need to put more salt into the salt. It's a perfect width right now. So we just go a little bit more. I mean, I think we've been able to manage the number of tons of salt, getting 1,800 in there right now. So I would maybe expect that to be something, but you sure want to think about it. So,
Okay. Certainly, thank you for your work.
Thanks, CJ. Appreciate it. Thanks.
I think that's pretty much what we contract.
It's fun to play with.
That's some things to think about here. That's
You were the first one we thought of because of the job you guys did at the fire station. So.
Yes, appreciate it. Thank you again. We'll bring it back to the table. Okay, enough said then for me?
Yes, sir. Yes, pretty good. Pretty good idea. Work. Definitely food for thought.
okay. Well, you were done, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have in these checks? I'm going to talk about you just for a second.
And
just a split second here too. So just stick around for this.
All right.
So I'll get to this part of it's on the agenda, but we have a quote. I've worked with Mr. Dixon, who was just recently referenced here. Was the construction manager on the fire station. Jim Larson was not the architect at Adam Hall. In hindsight, I kind of wish he was. And we did not have a construction manager on the addition to Adam Hall when we had tied the old building and the new building together. That's always an issue. Jim, I'm sure you'll agree with that. And we have roof problems. I've worked with Dixon and we did some exploratory work up there, and we're missing some stuff. We've got bad flashings at the bottoms of the valleys. We've got the south end of the building, the new part of the building. We're looking at underlayment that wasn't installed. There's no ice guard. Reshingling the south area. north and south areas, remove the gutters and replace with 6-inch gutters and 3/4-inch down, or 3x4 downspouts, excuse me. North and south roof areas, correct heat wire, add in gutters. South roof attic area, allow to insulate around unit in the attic that is heating the attic area. Heat loss there, causing a lot of these ice dams. That's right at the kind of the joint of the two buildings. That's why you saw it there this year. Patch and paint the drywall in the inside areas, under the valleys. Replace and stain ceiling tile below leak areas inside. And that, I got an estimate on that at $31,050. Yeah, not anything I'm very happy about here either. We have to get permits. There could be some plywood replacement that's not included in this quote. And that just recently came in. I've contacted the prosecutor's office to get some advice on how to proceed, because it does need to be done. And I don't have the revised code number. I'll get that. I would say let's get everything in order here. I called her and she responded to Nancy. But I would like to have a conversation with her before we move on with this. But that's the area we're in. This is what happens, Jim, when you had an architect that I think drew up a darn attractive building, but some things weren't included that should have been. And as I said a minute ago, whenever you're tying an old structure to a new structure, challenges. Yep. So, something else I'm going to put that on the agenda for the next meeting. Thanks. I just wanted to give one more tip of the hat to you, because we didn't have this problem at the fire station. So,
all right. Again, I appreciate the kind words.
thank you.
Thank you very much. You got it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, from that, brings us back to Memorial Day. We have checks. Going to have all these folks. Are they in file tonight?
Yeah.
The vocalist and the trumpeter and the bagpiper and donuts. And Carl's volunteering to pick up donuts. We got to have a check tonight.
I'm looking around here.
You know what? I don't think we cut a check.
We'll have Nancy get that signed. We'll make sure it's right. We're going to have another resolution to sign for our volunteer at the museum who's done such good work. I'll have Nancy. We'll have that. Well, if you can't get to it before, we'll get to it that day. Make sure we sign it. We need to take care of that. The bench is about 2/3 constructed up at the cemetery. The other one looks pretty good. He asked me, that falls off a little bit to the east. And being a builder, you don't want to build anything that's not level. So I said, build it level. I said, how much is it? He said 6 inches maybe. So I said, build it level. If we need to go in with some topsoil or something at the one end, we don't. I'm sure I'm going to hear comments about it this year, but it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I can sit at both ends of my feet aren't dangling. So I think it'll suffice for this year anyway. If we have to change it next year, we might. Thinking about renting, it crossed my mind before. Last year we bought the new benches, a small bleacher setup for out here. Maybe sits 50 people. We generally get, depends on the weather, but between 100 and 200, I'd say. We got the benches, which I think there's 10 of them or 8 of them. 5-6 people per. I mean, just if it fills up, it's a good idea.
Basically all down here. So I think that bleacher.
No, the bleacher wouldn't go up there. I don't think. I don't know where you put all the headstones.
Down the driveway.
Didn't you have cars in the driveway?
Not in that corner. Not in that corner. No. The 30-foot bench up there, we'll see 20, 25 people maybe. Which is 25 more than we've ever had up there, so that's good. But I was thinking down here.
And take all the little benches down there.
Yeah.
That's a guess.
Let's see what's available.
See what's available.
Let's see what's available. We've never done that before, but it came up tonight in our meeting that
I think it's
this is getting longer because you got these recent wars and you're adding more and more names to this list, and our honor guard is not getting any younger at this point either.
I vote for that.
Not that they can sit down because they have to stay at attention, but a lot of our.
Can you make a motion for a budget, just in case?
I have no idea what it would cost to run a bleacher.
I did. They're not real expensive. A couple $100.
That's what I was thinking, maybe a couple hundred.
Well, it's certainly within your discretionary.
Yeah. So let's see what we can find, and I was gonna add that to the list. Other than that, everything's coming to place for Memorial Day. We got a speaker, and I think we're good to go. Good weather. That's all I got.
Hey, PJ, one other thing, each of you guys have a copy of, I've been talking to ODOT about the traffic, the driveways down there at our corners, and they drew this up. It's a little bit tough to read, but basically it's what the part you're looking at is the part that's in the road, so you can see they're talking about separating the traffic from the stoplight south, and especially as you get to the ramps, it's definitely going to be when you're coming down to, say, go into the property here on the west side of the road. They're trying to help it be left in, be able to turn left to go in there, so it's not a right turn in, right turn out. So you can see there's some kind of a sort of a low, similar to what's there on the south part now. Concrete curving thing, 6 or 8 inches high.
So it finds a turn lane better.
It does, yeah. So look at this thing, and this is still in the talking phases, but I still think we want to keep pushing forward with this project and see if we can't get some. First of all, get him building, get him off of dead center, so he's going, and we start to, let these dominoes fall.
Somebody's got to go first, though. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think Ken's going to go first. He's got his toes in the water.
Phase 2 they got going right across the porch.
What you thought that was? Yeah, that's going to be a challenge for them. I'm glad they're on that. They can stay
tight.
Yeah,
Get up
it's
there.
real tight.
And then, of course, course, they're going to look at going south, on the south section of it.
Northbound left turn slot based.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, let's see. New business, we dealt with Ascot and Belmont. We got some franchise fees, Freddie, from Time Warner and Suddenlink.
Yeah, we should receive those in the general fund and then transfer to the...
You want to make that transfer tonight or next meeting, or what do you want to do?
Let's have a motion to receive the franchise fees from Time Warner for $3,804.37 into the general fund and then to be transferred into the land acquisition fund.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Yes.
PJ?
Yes. All right,
Another
same motion for Suddenlink, $2,411.08.
Yep.
Yep, there's the motion.
Second.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes. Okay. That's about the end of the business tonight. So public comment, anyone?
Can you share the numbers on estimates for the garage?
Yeah, I think we have to, don't we? We will. And these are very, very ballpark. Okay, these are with a range. 3 different concepts. A was 4,000 square foot new, 6,000 square foot renovated. Renovate the entire existing building and add 4,000 feet. Low estimate, $2,310,152. High estimate, $2,867,600. And once again, these are estimates. B, 6,000 square foot new. Tear down the south end, the pole building addition, former salt storage, and then renovate the cinder block building, 4,000 square feet. Low estimate, $2,154,328. High estimate, $2,641,300. Or C, 18,000 square foot new. Demolish the entire existing. Low, $1,800,900. High, $2,104,700. Yep. Anybody else?
I've got something to say about that. It's a lot of money, being honest with you. But I've been down at that garage, and look what they have to work with every day. I have to tell you, it's long overdue to do something. It's a hazard. And I believe that the board mentioned here a few times about some of the issues lately. They're not kidding you. The building they're in right now is just not equipped to deal with our current road department needs. I understand it's a lot of money, but at the same token, I also see the need for our community. And it's going to take care of us for the next 30 years, hopefully, like the fire department. The other thing I wanted to mention, too, about Mr. Dixon, when we did the fire department, he brought a lot of value to engineering. We're not builders, we're firemen. And he's a builder, he knows the ins and outs of it, and he represented us, not Mr. Larson, on many issues, and made sure that the township's benefit was being watched out for. So I truly saw a lot of good things come with him, and I'm happy that we did hire him ultimately to manage the fire department.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
I think it was no question he paid his salary plus a bonus.
Yep.
In what he saved us. I mean, that was a very trying construction season, too.
Yeah, not to mention the management and coordination of the whole project.
I mean, we were on time and on budget, and that's just something we have to insist on, whatever we do, whichever route we take.
Okay. Anybody else tonight?
Just say first, PJ.
Save the dates. Yep. Large item drop-off day, first Saturday in June, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's a fee schedule somewhere over there. We set that. I think it's on the board. Memorial Day, we'd like to see anybody up here to commemorate our veterans. 9 a.m. We're going to start over there, run a little parade up to here, and then we'll read the roster of names out here, and then move on to the other cemetery. Usually we're done by about 10:30. Senior trash item pickup day, Thursday and Friday, June 4th and 5th. You got to call the Department on Aging. 279-2130, maximum 10 items. That's it. Anybody else tonight? Thank you for coming. Motion? So moved.
Second.
John?
Yep.
Michael?
Yes.
Brett, do you have anything you'd like us to say?
I know.
Yeah, do we have it?
Yes.